By the end of this video, we're gonna build this slick little ditty in Editor X. And I'm still gonna have no idea what an NFT really is. Haha, let's go. Hey friends, welcome to Creative X. My name is Brad Hussey and I'm a web designer. I've partnered up with Editor X to create the best channel and community for you professional web designers and agencies out there building amazing things for the internet. And today, I've accepted this challenge on Front-End Mentor to build an NFT UI card component. That's a lot of abbreviations. But I guess non-fungible token user interface card component does not sound like a fun video. Anyway, I'm gonna be building this thing in Editor X and I invite you to join me. All the links are in the description below for the starter files and you can sign up for a free Editor X account. So let's go ahead and build this thing. We got our standard state, okay? And then there's a hover state, cool. And on mobile, it's gonna look the same. It's essentially the same dimensions of a mobile device, so nothing will change there. So, should be pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and open up a new Editor X site. It's gonna be blank canvas. All right, I'm gonna open up my layers, and then I'm actually just gonna delete the header. We don't need this, we're not building a site, we're just kind of jamming on a UI component. Delete the footer as well, no need for it. This section here, let's just start by adding that background color. Dark blue, very dark blue is what they call it. You know what, let's just make it easy and add it to our style guide just so it's just straight up, easy, simple background. And it's cool, Editor X in the site color styles, it will automatically create various shades so that we can use that throughout the site. It's nice. I'm gonna consider this cyan color our action color because it's got a lot of action to it. Kablam, there it is. And for more colors, yeah, I'm gonna grab soft blue. There we go. So there's our soft blue right there. And then we've got this background color, which is a very dark blue. And then behind it is a very, very dark blue. It's the main background. Okay, so we're actually just gonna grab that very, very dark blue, make sure that this darkest one is that, so we're consistent. Okay, so there's our color palette. And we're gonna make this background color our very, very dark blue. Done. So we're gonna add an element. It's gonna be a container. And what's its width? We're looking at like 350. So let's just go for it. 350 is gonna be the width, 350 pixels that is. We want that rounded border. Should we be specific? It's rounded 15. So we're gonna grab that border corners and we're gonna do 15 pixels all around. Card color, let's make sure that that's correct, is gonna be this one. Great. And to separate it from the background, we have a drop shadow. Let's check out the deets. Click on this. So it's a blur of 50, 0 and 25. Okay, let's just see if we can recreate pretty much close enough. Shadow, enable the shadow. X axis is 0 and the Y is 25. The blur is 50 and the size, yeah, whatever, 10. We're gonna do 10%, okay? And maybe let's just add something to the size. It's hard to see. I'm actually gonna make it dark so I can see it first. Okay, so that's good, size 0. I'm actually gonna do 10%. Okay, so there's our box shadow, drop shadow rather. Now, we're gonna have an image in there. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're going to add some elements. We're gonna go to our media. I'm actually gonna upload some files that I got from the Front-End Mentor website. When you download and start the challenge, you can download the starter files, and that's just basically images and such. So I got all of them right here. I'm gonna grab those, pull them in. Perfect, so we're gonna grab our image equilibrium. We're gonna add it to the page, and we're going to make sure it's within our container. We're gonna attach it and just have it just be floating in there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to, in the container, add some padding. The padding in the container is probably gonna be something like 20 pixels all around. And we're gonna lock that. I'm just gonna, for now, just go width 100%, height, auto, and then the container, I can add more stuff to it as I go. And I'll make sure that this image is docked to the top. Perfect, okay. And then I also wanna make sure this section grows as the content within it grows. So we're gonna select the container and we're gonna dock that to the top. That will solve that problem. And then this section itself, let's just give it padding of something generous like 80 pixels on the top and on the bottom. Now in there, we got some text to add. Oh, actually, it looks like we got a rounded border radius on the image. So let's do that. We're going to design that. We're going to go to the corners. So we're looking at 8 pixels. Okay. So it's actually about half of the outside. It just gives a little bit more of an appropriate sizing. So 8 pixels. Let's add some text. We're using the outfit font. Maybe we'll have that. We might have to use a different font. You can always download your font and upload it to Editor X, but I'll just probably use a system font for this. That seems pretty like Web 3.0, where you're just kind of using system fonts, straight up Arial or something. We'll figure it out. Okay, Equilibrium is the title. Let's just add some text layer, quick add. It's gonna be a title, attach it to the container. We're gonna make sure the width is 100%. We're gonna edit that text, change the title. The color is gonna be, so let's choose white. Font size, 22. And let me check if I've got that outfit font on here. I don't. We're just gonna use Poppins. Okay, now we got some text. We're gonna add another text element, quick add. It's gonna be paragraph actually, attach it to the container. It's gonna be width of 100%. And the edit text, the color, it's gonna be that light blue. And we're going with that Poppins again. We're popping. We're popping these NFTs.
A lot of things popping off, yo. We got a lot of.
Let's not do that. Now, I want to make sure that this is actually docked to the top, and the heading also docked to the top. Okay, and then I'm going to select the heading and the paragraph. I want to make sure that these are spaced out enough where I can actually see them better. Let me just move them down a little bit more. Now I want to stack literally all 3 of these elements. So I'm going to select them, make sure that they got enough space so that Editor X recognizes that they're not like on top of each other, but they are stacked. So it kind of informs the tool, hey, we want this to stack. Boom, we're stacking it. Now we get to actually be more consistent with our spacing. So we're looking at something like, I don't know, probably 20 pixels item spacing between everything. Great. Okay, and then I want that font color to be darker actually. I think that that's what it is. And we're gonna copy this text, move it over. And then, all right, now we got our currency, how much it costs, 0.041 ETH for Ethereum, I'm thinking. I don't know. You can tell me in the comments what that stands for, because I'm like, what? I'm making NFTs, folks. I'm making NFTs. You can hit my drop. We're hot and popping. That's how the Zoomers talk, right? All right, moving on. Let's add this in. That to me, I don't know, let's check it out so far. Let's just get excited about what we're building. Look at this. We're building NFTs. I think it looks great. Sweet. Now we're gonna add that next one. So I'm gonna add a new element. Probably just gonna be paragraph. We're gonna attach it. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm actually gonna build it out here first, just so I have space. There's not a lot of space to work in there. And so I'm gonna add the amount it costs, and I'm gonna make that size just like 100 pixels for now. It's a little wide. Pull that in. Where did you go? There you are. And we're gonna change your font to Poppins for now. And we've got the size, the caption size is 16, and that cyan color. So we're gonna go 16 and cyan, the chow, there it is. Okay, I'm gonna hit plus and I'm gonna add media. And there we are, the Ethereum icon. I'm gonna pull it in, it's an SVG, so it's gonna be super sharp no matter the size. And then I'm gonna make the size of it 18 pixels tall. Okay, and I'm gonna zoom in just so I could see a little bit better. These old elder millennial eyes ain't what they used to be. Bad joke. Okay, all right, we got that. We're gonna line it up. We're gonna select these two and we're gonna place them in a container because they're kind of one element. All right, now we're gonna zoom back out. I'm just gonna copy this text. Okay, we got this. And now we're gonna change a couple things. This is gonna say 3 days left, and that's gonna be not bold. Color is gonna be this color. And we're gonna change that icon, change the vector art. It's gonna be that clock right there. And the size of that one's gonna be a bit smaller. Okay, I'm gonna line those up, attach those into a container. So now those are an element. Bring this into this container. So now what we can do is actually just adjust this a little bit, make it the full width, Make sure it's aligned. And then we're gonna make sure that the spacing between all the items is 20. Okay, and this 3 days left kind of countdown until this expires is all the way to the right. So we're actually just going to text align that to the right. Then we'll make sure that this item is closer to that. Okay, that looks pretty good. It looks like we might have a little issue with the padding here. So the item spacing here, I think, is affecting this on the top. So we want no margin on the top of the image. That'll fix that. Next, we have a little bit of a hairline. Okay, so in the design, we have this hairline border here at the bottom of this stack. And so in Editor X, what we're gonna do is a couple ways. If I were to do this in CSS, I would take this whole container, this stack, and I'd put a border bottom. But as far as I can tell, at this moment in Editor X, I can only add borders to all sides. I have put in a feature request so that we can choose to add borders to specific sides. So if we wanted to put a border bottom, that's what I would do here. And so there is obviously a workaround here. There's a couple ways of doing it. In fact, you could add a line using a shape. So if I added an element, I can go to line and literally just select that. The line width will be 1. Choose the color. It's going to be that dark, very dark blue, as they call it. Okay, so I want to take this line and I want to add it to the container here. And what I'm going to do is dock it to the top and move it down a bit. All right, now just to be more specific, I'm going to select it again and I'm going to make sure that it is actually 20 pixels from the bottom of that element that we just added. So we're around here and we're going to go 10, 20. I'm holding shift and tapping the down arrow, and that's going to give us 20 pixels. Each tap holding shift is a 10 pixel movement, and I'm going to dock that to the top. So our padding is good. There we go. So that's one way of doing it. In fact, it's probably the best way right now. What you also can do, little trick, is select the stack and go to the design settings, choose shadow. You can enable the shadow, make sure the angle is 0, so it's straight up and down. The distance is going to be 1 pixel. The size will be 1 pixel and the blur is 0. So it's a hard line. There's no blur to the shadow. And then the opacity and color, we're going to choose that dark, very dark blue. Make sure it's fully 100% so it's not see-through at all. I'm going to select this container with the price and the timeline. And then I can just add a margin bottom of 20 pixels. Actually, margin bottom is right here. And so watch this. I'm going to hide that line, select this stack, and okay, so I can kind of see it here. I must have did something wrong. Let's go back to our stack and then choose our shadow. The size is going to be 0. That's it. So now we've got our perfect hairline at the bottom here. If you can see it, I'll preview that. So there it is right there. Now, one final element is the creator of the NFT. What do they call it? What's a creator of an NFT? Are they called a minter? Are they a nifter? I don't know what it is. So we're going to add this. So let's go back to our editing. All right, I need that avatar profile image. So under media, I'm just going to drag in the avatar image here, somewhere over here in the main body. For now, we'll build it out there. I'm going to copy this text here. And then I'm just going to paste it over here, drag it up beside the avatar. It's the creation of Jules Wyverns. I'm just going to add that text here. And then I'm going to make that name white. I'm going to adjust that font size, 16 pixels, do some alignment. The image here is about 33 pixels. So I'm going to adjust that. I'm also going to give it a white border. So we're going to do 1 pixel width and make sure that it's white. We're going to align this up properly. And that icon, I actually want it to have a border radius of about, 50 pixels, just to make it a full circle. So the radius has to be bigger than the image's height and width. And so that looks good. I'm going to pull that down, align it up, and place it, both of those elements within a container. Now I want to drag that whole container here underneath the stack. So it's a part of the stack. Do some alignment, make sure the width of everything is good. All right, and we're just gonna make sure that the alignment of the stack is good. The width of everything is 100%, looking good. And I'm also gonna select the stack and remove the margin bottom so that our padding around the card is even. Okay, and so this line, it needs to be moved down a bit. So I'm going to select the line and move it down about 20 pixels with my shift and down arrow. Dock it to the top. It doesn't seem to be moving the other elements though. So I'm actually going to remove this line and I'm going to go with my other plan, which was to delete this line and to use a hard box shadow on elements. So I'm going to delete that. So now I'm going to select that container within that stack, and under box shadow, I'm going to enable the shadow. The distance will be 1 pixel, 0 for size and blur. Choose that very dark blue, 100% opacity, and that line will be there, but we need a little bit of padding underneath that container. So selecting that, going to the layout, going down to padding, 20 pixels on the bottom, that'll make the layout look right. Now it looks like there's too much space on the top of this card. It looks like margin on the top of this stack. It's giving it that effect. I don't want that. So I'm gonna select that and remove the top margin. Let's preview. Looks good on desktop. I imagine it's gonna look good on both of these other views as well. It does. I like it. All right, now that we built the full UI in Editor X, it's looking pretty good, but I'd like it to be a little bit more nifty. Maybe we'll add some animations. Yes. That's how we'll get all the Zoomers spending all their bit cash on our JPEGs. Now we could leave it there, but that would be boring and it wouldn't have that nifty flair. So let's do some animations. I'm gonna select this image here and choose the animation icon here. And we wanna choose, I'm thinking float in. And for customize, we wanna make the direction from the top, and delay, let's delay it 1 second. And then select the text right below it. And we're gonna animate that. I'm gonna fade that in, customize it, delay it 1.2 seconds. The next element, we're gonna fade that in, customize, delay is gonna be 1.4 seconds. And we're gonna select this container, we're gonna animate that, float that in, and we're gonna delay it 1.6 seconds. And this last element here, we're gonna select it, animate it, float it in, direction from the bottom, delay it 1.8 seconds. And then I actually want this background fold in. Let's try fold in. I don't know if it'll do the whole thing or not. Let's try it. Fold in. And now for the grand reveal, let's check out the build. Pop a like. All right, animations are on point. Now it's time to add some interactions and hover effects. Let's go ahead and do that. In the design, when you hover over the image, you get a cyan overlay with the icon, and also the links change color to that cyan. So we're gonna do that in Editor X. Select the image. We're gonna click on the little lightning bolt icon, which is interactions. Click on triggers. We're gonna add a new trigger on hover, and we're going to affect the element is gonna be the self image self. We're gonna apply an effect. The effect is actually gonna be a custom effect. We're gonna call that cyan. Start designing. And then here's where we get to make some changes. So make the background that cyan color that we set up in our design library, 100%. Okay. And the image opacity is going to be like 50%. So we get that overlay effect. Hit play. That looks good. All right. Hit done. We built that out. Hit triggers. And we're going to go to our add new interaction. And we're going to add that interaction. Cyan. Perfect. Now we can preview it. Hover over that image. Yes. Now I need to add that eyeball icon. So I'm going to grab it from a media, drag it in just to the body here. I'm going to resize it. It's about 45 pixels wide. I'm going to drag it and attach it to the container of the NFT card, the preview card. So up here, I'm going to attach it to the container. That's good for me. And I'm going to move it down, dock to the top, move it down, margin top like 100 and maybe 30 pixels. That's about centered to me. Great. Okay, so we want this eyeball to slide in when we hover. So I'm gonna drag it to the top of the container, not all the way out so we don't drag it outside of the container. I'm gonna move it up just outside using the keyboard here. And then I'm gonna make sure it's aligned properly and select the container, and we want to hide the content so that we don't see it when the overflow is set to hide. Select the image, select interactions, and then add a new interaction on the hover trigger. We're going to choose a different element on the canvas, and that's going to be the vector art. And then we're going to apply an effect, and the effect is going to be a custom effect. We're going to call this move icon. And then we're going to move that icon down by translating on the y-axis 210 pixels down. You can hit play to preview the animation. Looks good. We're going to hit done. And now I'm going to select the image, go to the hover trigger interaction. I'm going to select a new element on the canvas, and that's going to be the vector art. And I'm going to add a new effect called move icon, the one that we just created. Done. Let's preview that. And on hover, there we go. And now we want to make sure that this text, when we hover over this text, it will fade into that cyan color. So we're going to add a new trigger on this element, and we're going to add a custom interaction. It's going to be called cyan link. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to simply change the color of the text. And that's right here. We're going to choose cyan. Okay, that's good. And you can change the easing and all of that here, the timing, and preview it. Looks good to me. I'm going to go ahead and hit done. And then go to triggers. Add the interaction that we just created called cyan link. All right, so now let's preview that. Here it is. Whoop. That is so cool. We did a good job. Well, call me an elder millennial, but I still don't quite get the big whoop about NFTs. I mean, I get the concept of exclusivity and possessing something rare. But I don't know, am I missing out on something here? Should I get one? Should I make one? Should I make this video an NFT? Slap that like button if you think so, and let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching today, friends. Really appreciate it. Click that subscribe button right there so you don't miss our weekly web design builds with Editor X. And also, you're gonna wanna watch that video. It's pretty good. It's almost as good as kids spending all their money on JPEGs. See you in the next one.